There's this thing that Disney called the Walk Around the World, where they were going to put all the legacy stones that used to be out there with people's names on them that went in a pathway around from the Magic Kingdom to the Transportation and Ticket Center and in front of each of the hotels that are around the Seven Seas Lagoon. The idea was very clever. So I thought today I would actually take a walk and see if I could do it. Given the fact that I had tried it once before and there was a bridge missing, I thought today I would try it and see if it works. So I'm starting at the Transportation and Ticket Center, and I'm heading out toward the Polynesian. There is a walkway that goes between there and the Polynesian, that I know. So I'm going to do this walk and we'll go along. Now the entirety of the walk is about 5 miles, so it takes about an hour to do, but I've compressed this to make it a little quicker.
Polynesian? Yep, follow the sidewalk through the woods. You'll be there in 3 minutes.
So it starts off here. And what I did was I sped this up a little bit. I have some quick edits in here just to make it go a little bit faster. But you'll get an idea of what the walk looks like. Some time ago, I decided to do a walk around the world. And I couldn't finish it because they hadn't finished the bridge between the Grand Floridian and the Magic Kingdom. So I'm going to try it again today, and let's see how it goes. So as you go along, you make your way up behind the Polynesian Hotel. You kind of work your way toward the middle of it and work your way around a little bit. So you go up through these nice little bamboo forest here. You kind of make your way around. You go between the hotel parts, and you work your way down until you're near the main house. And once you're there, you work your way around by the pool and you go back by where Trader Sam's is. Now, I'll admit, I got a little confused about which way to go exactly. I knew that I had to go to the far side of the marina in order to get to the next destination, which would take me along toward the lagoon. But I got a little confused about where to go. And I got a little sidetracked because I always enjoy the Polynesian Hotel, and I went inside for a few minutes just to kind of check it out, just because it's always fun to go in there. So it took a little longer to come out of the Polynesian than I expected, but that was okay. It was just the fun of taking the trip and making it happen. So as I walked along, I saw a lot of different things here, run into people. The foliage is nice. It was a beautiful day. A little warm, but it was beautiful. So I just kind of made my way around and then cut across. You can see that's the main house in front. The pool is to my right, and we're going to head over toward Trader Sam's to make the way around. And I did edit out a couple of places where I wasn't quite sure where to go, and made my way that way. So we make our way past here, we cut around, and there's a little pathway that goes up and around to the other side of the marina, and then winds up near where the Luau Cove is, where they used to do the Polynesian luau. And then come across and make your way over to the Grand Floridian. Now the Grand Floridian is laid out in a way where it's not clear where you go here exactly either. You're on the lagoon side. The lagoon is on my right. You can kind of see it as I'm moving along. Sorry for the bounciness of all this. It was just I was running the camera and just moving along. I just wanted you to get a sense of it. Finally, you come along and there's a sign here that says, hey, go toward the Magic Kingdom. And you take this path. If you kind of head out toward the monorail, you'll see it because it follows the monorail's path. Okay, so this walk is all kinds of awesome. I have to say, this is really, really cool. The fact that I'm walking next to the monorail and under the monorail and whatever on this side away from everybody, it's really cool. Totally worth doing. I'm so glad that they finally opened this and I was able to do it and find my way around. Just getting through the Grand Floridian was a little bit of a trick. Oh, here comes a monorail, I think, overhead. Yes, indeedy. Let's have a look. Here it comes. Essentially worth the price of admission right there. That was really cool to have it go overhead like that. And now I'm coming up on the float storage for the electrical water pageants. We might be able to see those back in there. Let's take a look as we go past. Sure enough, there you go. That's the electrical water pageant back there. That's the parade storage for the nighttime spectacular. So they're right back there underneath the monorail platform. And this bridge lifts up to let them come out. Now, of course, Disney has taken up most of the legacy stones that were here, the ones with people's names on them. There were a few still over between the Polynesian and the Grand Floridian, though I imagine at some point they'll probably take those out as well. It's one of those things that's kind of sad in a way. That was really kind of the whole point of it, was to have this legacy place that we would have all these stones with people's names and these memories of things. But I understand why they took them out. It's been 30, 35 years now, so it was time to remove them. Anyway, so this is, we're coming up on the Magic Kingdom, and you'll see it kind of coming up on our left. We're walking along. This is on our right will be the lagoon, and this is where the ferries dock up when they come across from the Transportation and Ticket Center and come across. So we're directly across from the Transportation and Ticket Center now. And we're coming up on the main part of it. Again, this is just sort of a walking tour just to give you a sense of what it's like. It's a really nice way to walk. It's really pleasant, and it actually doesn't take too long to walk to, say, the Grand Floridian. Maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes, something like that, to walk that distance. So kind of a pleasant way to go. And you can see everything kind of coming into focus here, and we get to the point where we get to the end. And now we're going to turn in where the ferry boats are. We're going to join the queue where people come into the Magic Kingdom, into the main part of the area where you have the ticket booth, and you come in that way. So you can see this is where the ferries drop people off, pick people up to go to different places. And we're just going to make our way around here, and we'll go through a security gate. There's a security guard right here, and they have these new scanners out now. Really easy to go through, and you just wave to the guy and go through. And there's the Magic Kingdom right in front of us. So we're here. We're at the Magic Kingdom. We made the walk halfway around the world, and that's kind of cool. I thought this was really neat to be able to do this. Now we're going to continue on and head toward the Contemporary. And this is where things, get a little different, and here's where the next problem lies. As we go toward the Contemporary, we'll see that the path doesn't exist the rest of the way. Okay, so I'm coming up on the Contemporary now, and there's a problem here. The Contemporary has a sidewalk that stays on the side of the street that I'm on, that goes up toward the Transportation and Ticket Center, but ends about, I don't know, maybe a quarter mile before the Transportation and Ticket Center, so there is no way to walk the rest of the way to the Transportation and Ticket Center. So I'm just going to end this here. This was actually a very cool walk. I kind of enjoyed it. I rather enjoyed it. I'm glad I did it, but there's not more to see here because unfortunately it ends up there too, just as it did before, back by the Grand Floridian. So I started by the red arrow at the bottom, worked over toward the Grand Floridian and around, and the pink arrow is where the road actually stops, where there's no sidewalk that continues on. And that's the challenge. You can't actually do the full walk around the world because they didn't quite finish it out. Now you can get to the Magic Kingdom from any of the hotels, but you just can't make it the rest of the way. If we use Google Earth, we can see how this works. I'm looking at the location here, and World Drive is the one that's at the end where we were walking on that path. If we'd walked a few feet further, we would have been on World Drive. You can see the Space Mountain to our right, the Contemporary in front, and this would be where the path would go that continues around the lagoon. So if we just kind of tap down it and work our way down just to kind of see what Google Earth says, we can see that there's a sidewalk on our right, and it kind of goes a little bit further here, just up until about the monorail. It's sort of there. It's not really there. You could kind of, I guess you could make the case you could walk there. There's a little sidewalk just on the other side that turns in, but then the sidewalk just disappears. We get past where the Contemporary is here, and there is no sidewalk on either side of the street, so I can't go any further on this path. There's no way to continue on doing the walk around the world. So this is the challenge. There's nothing you can do to finish the pathway. Right up in front of us is the water bridge where you go underneath in the car. So that's actually one of the coolest features here at Disney World, but that's it. That's the only thing you can do because you can't walk through that bridge. You obviously can't go over it because that's the waterway, so you're stuck here. So I got to the Transportation and Ticket Center by the Epcot monorail, so I stopped over right where that blip is over on the top right-hand corner and started my walk through the Polynesian, then continued on the Polynesian, from the Polynesian, walking past the Grand Floridian, across the pathway, wound up walking down the pathway, that white line over to the right, that would be World Center Drive. And that's it. That was my story. We couldn't do it, but it was really, really cool to try and get there.